Yes, you're dirty, aren't you? And you like it like that. Uh-huh. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. Today we are testing BMW's latest 1250GS adventure. And not just that, this is the 40th year anniversary edition one, which means that it's all black and yellow, because it's pretty like that. It comes with yellow handlebars, golden wheels. These are not its original wheels. I changed these to mine because I wanted off-road tires. It comes with a gold handlebar and a lot of really yellow stickers on it. And the cylinder covers are option 719. They are beautifully milled from aluminium. Apparently it takes about half a day to manufacture these ones. I like the color and I really like how they shimmer in the sunlight. But what interested me most about the 2021 version of the GS was that if that difference between the 2017 1200GS that I own compared to this would justify upgrading to it. I test drove the 2019 versions of the 1250GS as well, both the GS and the Adventure, and while they were great, I really didn't feel that difference was so huge that it justified an upgrade. Okay, so what is new for the 2021 model year? First of all, the signal lights have got an upgrade. The front ones are now arrow shaped. They stay on all of the time, but at half intensity. And when you signal, they switch off and then go full intensity. The rear ones, however, now have brake functionality included in them as well. So they're both signal lights and brake lights. And the older brake light and parking light only does braking now. So theoretically you should be a lot easier to see in traffic while you're braking. Next up, the front headlight, that's been redesigned completely as well. It doesn't have that CDRL shape anymore, it's now an X. And apart from that, it's now an adaptive cornering light as well. Adaptive because the main light actually twists and turns when the bike is either leaning left, leaning right, and more interestingly than that, when it's going up and down. So when you accelerate, the front obviously lifts up and the headlight will compensate and it will dip down. The same when you're braking aggressively, the bike's front will dip and then the front light will also raise and stay level. So it's basically a horizon leveling cornering headlight. I had a lot of fun with it last night. It works very well. My only complaint would be that personally, I would prefer it to be a little bit brighter. I think it's good. It's really one of the best on the market, but just give me another 20% brightness there. That's what I want. The auxiliary lights, the projectors, they are brighter than the actual headlight, and they take a lot of the grunt work when you need to see detail at longer distances. For 2021, the bike has also gotten a bit smarter, if you can believe that. Up until now, it had a 5-axis IMU, now it has a 6-axis IMU. Don't ask me what the difference between those are, but I can tell you in layman's terms, now the bike knows whether you're doing a wheelie or whether you've actually got a wheel spin and it needs to intervene. And what that translates to for the rider is that, for example, in Enduro Pro now, which is up until now, you've never had any traction control intervention in Enduro Pro, that was switched off. But now, if you're pulling a wheelie in Enduro Pro, the bike will know that it's a wheelie and you'll still have some basic level of traction control intervention. You can turn that up, you can set that up and turn that up to whatever level of intervention you want, but the main idea is that it's a bit more cleverer now. Riding modes, you've got 7 in total, including a brand new Eco one. The Eco one will basically limit the engine's power to about 100 horsepower. It'll also tell you when you're not driving eco-ish. So theoretically, if you're in a pickle and you're almost out of gas, put it into Eco mode. Maybe it'll help you get to your gas station or wherever you need to go. right, next up, new for 2021, all pillions in the world rejoice. There are now heated seats, both for the rider and the pillion. From the factory, they are an optional. They have 5 different levels of intensity, and while I was riding at about 8 degrees Celsius, number 5, which is the hottest one, was basically too hot for me. So they are good quality heated seats, and for the price that you're getting them at, they make a lot more sense than actually going out and buying a third-party heated seat for like $1,000 or something. So that was a good addition for this year. Well done, BMW. The heated grips, those haven't changed, but now they've also got 5 different levels of intensity. All right, in the engine department, theoretically nothing's been changed from 2020. There's nothing in BMW's literature to say that that they've made any changes or significant changes to them. But what I found in the past almost 2 weeks of riding is that the bike feels a lot livelier than before. And what do I mean by lively? Well, on the 1200, you can barely hear anything that's pleasant coming out of the exhaust. It's not a pleasant tone. There are a few pops here and there when you use the quick shifter, but nothing tremendous to get your blood pumping. This new one, and I don't remember it being so intense on the 2019 version, but this one pops and crackles out of the exhaust every single chance it gets. It could just be in my imagination, but the engine feels more agile than the 2019, a lot more agile than the 1200, which is good news or bad news for me. Every time that shift cam changes positions, I can definitely hear a pop out of the exhaust. Those are just, they're pleasant. They make me feel like a kid, and I like them. I like them a lot. And other bike manufacturers, car manufacturers, they do that from year to year. They make small little tiny improvements. They don't document them, but you sort of feel them in the end result. In 2016, for example, they upgraded the gearbox on the 1200, and they didn't write too much about that in the literature, but the difference was day and night. And I'm finding out it's kind of the same thing now between 2017, which was pretty much a very good year for the GS, and the 2021 version. It's reaching that point now where I'm seriously considering upgrading. So thanks, BMW. Haven't made up my mind yet, so still need to ride it a bit more. All right, as usual, you guys have sent in some questions as well. Let's take a look. Electronics reliability for long and extreme conditions, please. It's packed of electronics, yeah? I know a lot of people are scared that they're going to break and leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere. Only thing I can tell you is my experience in the 5 years I've been riding the big GS. I think in total I've done about 100,000, 120, 130,000 kilometers. The only electronic thing I've needed to change on any of them that I've ridden was the little switch for the clutch lever. The little switch just broke. BMW also had a technical bulletin, if I remember correctly, with one of the info buttons. They would replace that. And apart from that, that's it. No electronics have broken on it. And again, I don't ride it to Starbucks, man. I mean, we've got lots of great off-road places in Romania, so I do punish it quite a bit. Would you suggest it for Romania?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. It'll take you very comfortably from where you are to where Romaniac starts, and then you can watch the race from there. Definitely. Minimum height of the rider with standard seat and standard suspension. Oh, I forgot to mention, the anniversary edition also comes with a black seat with yellow accents, which for some reason is not on this bike. Okay, the Adventure, the big one, standard seat height would be 890 to 910 millimeters. The seat is also adjustable. It's got a low and a high. And on the smaller GS, not the Adventure, you're looking at a 850 to 870 millimeters. So either 890 on this one or 850 on the small GS. Is there anything that comes close that comes with a shaft drive? Unfortunately, too little motorcycles come with shaft drives, in my opinion. I think the Moto Guzzi, the V85, that's with a shaft drive, that's an adventure bike, but I wouldn't necessarily compare it to the big GS. I think it's in a different class altogether. I'm sure it's capable. I haven't ridden it, so I can't really compare it, and yeah, it's a smaller bike as well. How can you switch off ABS and other electric aids? Well, using the little buttons over there. In Dynamic Pro, you can switch basically everything off, and in Enduro Pro you can also switch everything off. I highly doubt the front ABS is switchable. That I think stays on all of the time, but I'll correct myself if I'm wrong. Can you wheelie it? This comes up every single question. No, I can't wheelie it. The bike can wheelie, but I'm not going to do that on because I'm too scared. There we go. That's it, yeah?
It's all right. You can do this. You can do this. People have been doing wheelies since motorcycles were invented. Got your gloves on. We're in Dynamic Pro. There's nothing to it. Just the bike will do it. It's fine. Don't worry. You're not scared. You're not scared. What you're feeling right now is excitement. You're not scared. How the hell do you do a wheelie? You have to jump on it.
But talking seriously, it should be a lot easier now to wheelie and safer at the same time, because as I said before, it knows the difference between a wheelie and an actual wheel spin. So it should let you wheelie easier. Speculate on whether or not the 22 model year will have the adaptive cruise control and the larger TFT display as found on the RT. I highly doubt it. Haven't heard anything about that. The front of the bike will need a sort of redesign because you've got no place to put that on there. So BMW does have quite a bit of work to do on it. I think we all know how this review will go, so let's make it interesting. I challenge you to find 3 things about it you dislike and you cannot say weight or price. Fair enough, I've got about 5. There's a man with his goats behind me. I'm in the middle of like a really huge field, and I don't know, do you call them shepherds if they have goats, or is it just for sheep? And he slowly made his way in like the 40 minutes I've been here, and now he's sitting like right next to the bike and the goats are going all around. So it's rustic, what can I say? All right, stuff I don't like. I've written them down. Connectivity issues. Now I've been using an iPhone, my Pack Talk Black, connected all of them to the main unit of the bike, and while on paper it's a good idea to integrate all of these together. I like the fact that I can change my music by using the little wonder wheel, but when it doesn't work, it just becomes very frustrating. My album art would sometimes show, sometimes not show. If I was listening to music and I got a call, when I ended that call, that's it. No more music for me. Even if I tried to play it straight from the phone, even if I went into their little menus and said play, it doesn't matter what, just play, it wouldn't play anymore. So basically I have to stop, switch off the bike, and then start again. Very irritating. The BMW Connected App, their phone app, works great, but doesn't really record all of the rides that I do. It tells me a lot of interesting info, like, you know, lean angle, ABS intervention, traction control intervention. It's fine, but it misses some of the rides, and I can't figure it out why, you know. Like yesterday I had 3 different rides, not very long, but also not very short. All of those are poof, forgotten. In the ether of the internet somewhere. Next up, riding mode selector. That button that you change your riding modes with now, you've got 7 in total, but you can only choose 4 at a time. So you need to decide between Eco, Rain, Dynamic, Dynamic Pro, Enduro, Enduro Pro, and you've got little tick boxes and you can only choose 4. I don't understand why that is. Just put all 7 on there. Navigator, BMW's Navigator, it's a Garmin device. It's just horrible. I've never liked it. I think it's too expensive for what it does. It's old, it hasn't been updated, it's slow, it's horrible to load maps on their tracks. It's just, it needs a redesign. I mean, come on. You have the technology, BMW, I know. I've seen it on the RT. More light, front headlight, works, beautiful, lots of light. I would still want a bit more. I wasn't very comfortable when it was pitch black outside, just with the main headlight on. Yeah, no auxiliaries, nothing. It's good, just more light. And lastly, everybody's been asking about this since I started reviewing bikes, backlit switchgear. It kind of feels like you're not doing it now out of spite, BMW. You know everybody wants it, so just put backlit switchgear on there. As an example, I know where all the buttons are. It hasn't changed from my bike, so I'm very familiar with them. But last night when I went to film the night shot, I stopped and I wanted to put my hazards on. I sort of know where the hazard button is, but I couldn't find it at night. It was pitch black. So even for a rider that is very familiar with the switches, I would still appreciate to see light there. So maybe we can work on that, yeah? In my opinion, the big GS, the big Boxer, has always offered that trio of three things that I appreciate for the type of riding that I do, which includes a lot of off-road riding. Not a very difficult one. We're not talking about Red Bull Romaniacs here, but pleasant off-road riding. Number one on that would be the Boxer engine. Now, it's a great engine. It wouldn't be my favorite pick, but it helps me a lot on off-road at very low speeds because it lowers the center of gravity and it pushes it out. So the bike is a lot easier to maneuver at lower speeds, which is exactly what you want. Secondly, you've got that front telelever suspension and that rear paralever suspension, which it's completely different than anything else you've ridden. From now on, also being fully electronically adjustable, it means that it senses your weight and it adjusts the height of the bike according to if you're riding with a pillion, if you're riding with luggage, if you're riding solo. So it's become very, very clever. Brake dive is really something that this bike doesn't concern itself with. And because it's all electronically controlled, the bike tries to keep you on a level surface. So the front always should kind of align with the back. The height of the front should align with the height of the back, even when you're braking, even when you're heavily accelerating. So that's something I really appreciate. And thirdly in that trio would be the shaft drive. And I know what you're gonna say now, that I'm lazy and I don't like cleaning chains. Yes, that is correct. I don't like cleaning and lubricating chains. The shaft drive, every 20,000 kilometers, I think the oil needs to be changed on it, and every 10,000 kilometers, I take the shaft out and check on the splines because of off-road riding and lubricate them. That's all I need to do, and it's a fun afternoon. Okay, so all of these things put together, the end result is a bike that you can do easily 10-day hours on. You can ride anywhere you want on paved roads. You can ride in a lot of places on off-road. And being comfortable while you're doing these long 10-hour days, if you enjoy that kind of thing, means that you're not prone to making as many mistakes as you would on another bike that theoretically could also do it. You could also ride 10-hour days on, you can ride it on anything, but you're gonna get a lot more tired because you're not as comfortable. You fight the bike a lot more. And getting tired on a motorcycle is bad because you start making mistakes, and we all know mistakes are bad on a bike. So that is why even now, the GS, the big GS, will be my bike of choice for the type of riding that I do. Again, we all do different type of riding, but for me, this would be the perfect choice. The question now is whether to upgrade or not, and I still don't have an answer to that yet. Maybe I will. I don't know. Let's end it off here. If there's anything else that you want to know that I haven't mentioned, please, comment section below is the right place for you. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming a Patreon. It really helps us out a lot. Cheers. I'll see you on the next one.